Hello guys, welcome to my channel techietoes, and this is video second of the course Getting Started with Arduino, where we will look at basics of breadboard. Now let's first understand what is a breadboard. So here I have a breadboard and it's used for prototyping. So it's a plastic board which has lots of dots in it, and it's also called like a proto board, meaning that it's used for prototyping. It's a platform where you can create your circuits to test and to see if it works, if everything is as per your requirement. Now, let's also understand why do we need to use it? Why can't we just straight away create circuits on, let's say, a PCB? So an example of a PCB is here. So this is a power supply for this same breadboard, and this is a final product. This is a finished product, and it's on a PCB, right? Now PCB, it's printed circuit board, and it looks like this. It's a very thin, like a 2 millimeter board, where you have copper on both sides, and then you can print your circuit onto it and then solder components. But this is not the way a circuit is or a product is developed. It's first tested on a prototyping platform, right? If it is a big circuit, it is divided into smaller circuits, and then it is tested on a prototyping platform. So this is a prototyping platform where you can test your circuits. All right, so we have answered what a breadboard is. Why do you want to use it? Now let's look at the most important aspect of a breadboard as to how to use it, right? And before I do that, I want to just quickly mention that in my previous video, which was the first video where I talked about the contents and components of the course, I forgot to mention that you also need jumper wires, and the jumper wires look like this, right? So you get these in different maybe structures. So one you have is male to male jumper wire, where you see on both ends you have pins like these, and these pins can be inserted into the breadboard. You also get male to female jumpers, and you also get female to female jumpers. So I forgot to mention that because usually when you buy breadboard, you get jumper wires with it. But if you haven't bought these jumper wires, please buy. So I'll also update this in the description of the first video. Okay, now how do you use a breadboard? So you can see that there are a lot of dots here in the center and also on the sides. So let's first talk about the dots that are on the sides. So here you can see that there are two colored lines. One is a blue line and the other one is a red line. Okay. Now this red line is denoted by plus and the blue line is denoted by negative or minus. So these dots are used for your power supply, right? Or for your ground connections, for your maybe positive voltage connections. And the center dots is where you insert your components. So let's say in the next video, we will look at the first program, or not in the next video, in the next to next video. And there we will, insert all these components. Like this is the Arduino Nano. I also have LEDs here. So we will insert all these components in the center of the breadboard. And if I want to get more power lines like negative ground lines or positive lines, we will use these dots on the extremes. Okay, now let's look at how these dots are connected. So let's first talk about the dots which are in the center, right? So there are a lot of dots, like they are labeled from, let me bring this closer to the camera. So you can see they are labeled as A, B, C, D, E. So there are 5 dots vertically, and then there are many dots horizontally. So I think there are around maybe 60 dots like this, or maybe more than that, and then 5 dots vertically. So these vertical dots are connected together internally. So the way a breadboard is made is that if you peel off this back sticky, I think it's a double-sided tape. So if you remove that, you will see copper, not copper, sorry. Maybe I think it's steel steel brackets or steel frames that are inserted from the behind, and that's what make your connections possible on a breadboard, right? So these vertical dots here, they are connected together internally. So these all are a single, you can consider it as a single line, and then same for all the dots, but they aren't connected in parallel. So if I talk about this and I refer it to it as a column, the first column is not connected to the second column, and so on. The second column is not connected to the third column, right? So if I want to insert maybe this resistor, this is a resistor I have. Okay. So if I want to insert this, I will insert the resistor such that I am using these dots in a column fashion. So, I've inserted this in the first column, and then the second pin goes to the other column, right? So that these are not shorted, basically not connected together. Same for all the dots. It can be a bit tricky at first, but as you start making your circuits, you get to know how this works. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comment section below. It's really important to understand how a breadboard works. Otherwise, as I said earlier as well, you will end up burning your expensive components. Okay, now let's look at the dots on the sides. So you have this plus rail and a minus rail. So these dots, let's say for the plus, are connected together. So let's count how many dots you have. So you have 5 dots here. Then you have 5 dots here again. And you have like 5 sections, 5 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are in total 25 dots and the red line, and they are connected together. So they are connected horizontally, right? Same for the blue line. These dots are connected together horizontally. Now the plus and minus are not connected internally. So if I have a ground connection, I will put that onto the negative rail, and if I have a positive 5-volt connection, I will put that on a positive rail. And then if I need ground or 5-volt connection anywhere in the circuit, I can just take a jumper and use those rails, power rails, to power my circuit. Okay, and please wait until my first video where I talk about how to build a circuit, and then once I have done that, then you proceed. Please do not try to build a circuit on your own before that video. Just understand how breadboard works. And if you also want to remember, there's a good way to do it. So take a piece of paper and try to draw the breadboard onto it. And by draw it, I don't mean that you just draw dots. Consider this vertical line as vertical dots as a single line, and then you draw it that way, so that you understand that okay, how these are connected internally. And what I said about the outer power rails or these dots holds true for all these 3 segments over here. So that's how a breadboard is connected internally, and that's how it works. And that's all about it for the breadboard. If you have any questions, any doubts, please ask me in the comment section below. And yeah, in the next video, we will look at the Arduino basics, and I'll talk about the Arduino Nano board more. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video, and have a good day. Bye.